Imagine this. A woman kneels beside a grave scratched into the earth 60,000 years ago. Her hands are shaking. Around her, flowers, actual flowers, deliberately placed. Their pollen later discovered fossilized in the soil by archaeologists who nearly dropped their brushes in disbelief. She is burying someone she loved. And the question that should be clawing at your brain right now is simple. Did she cry? Did tears actually fall down that face thousands of centuries before therapy, before poetry, before anyone ever wrote the word grief? It seems like an obvious yes. Of course she cried. Humans cry. But here's the twist that scientists have been quietly wrestling with for decades. We genuinely don't know. And the deeper you dig into this mystery, the stranger and more beautiful it becomes. Let's get one thing straight immediately, because it changes everything. Tears themselves are ancient, older than humans, older than mammals even. Reptiles produce tears, fish produce tears, but those are lubricating tears, the biological equivalent of windshield wiper fluid, keeping the eyeball moist and clean. What we're really asking is something far stranger and far more human. Did ancient people cry emotional tears? The kind triggered not by dust or wind, but by heartbreak, loss, joy, overwhelming love. Because here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Emotional tears, the kind that stream down your face during a sad movie or at a funeral, are, as far as science can tell, completely unique to human beings. Not chimpanzees, not dolphins despite what viral videos claim, not elephants despite the internet's obsession with crying elephants, which are actually just draining excess fluid, not sobbing over loss. Just us. Only us, which means somewhere at some point deep in our evolutionary past, something happened. Something switched on inside the human brain that turned ordinary eye lubrication into an entirely new language, a language made of salt water. So when did that switch flip? This is where things get genuinely eerie, because scientists studying tear biology have discovered that emotional tears aren't chemically identical to ordinary ones. They carry stress hormones, they carry natural painkillers, actual opioid-like compounds, the very same category of chemical your brain releases to dull physical pain, which means crying isn't just an emotional release, it's a biochemical event. Your body quite literally medicating itself through your eyes. Now picture an early human tens of thousands of years ago standing over the body of a child lost to a harsh winter. If crying released natural pain relief, then perhaps this wasn't just sadness leaking out. Perhaps it was survival, a built-in mechanism to help the mind endure the unbearable. But here's where the mystery deepens instead of resolving. We have skulls, we have bones, we have stone tools sharp enough to still cut skin after 40,000 years underground. What we don't have, what we can never have, is a single ancient teardrop preserved in fossil form. Tears evaporate, grief leaves no fossil record, so everything we know is inferred, pieced together like forensic detectives working a cold case that's been cold for half of human history. And yet, the evidence keeps whispering yes, because grief itself, real, aching, prehistoric grief, absolutely existed. Neanderthal burial sites, tens of thousands of years old, show bodies deliberately positioned, sometimes curled as if sleeping, sometimes surrounded by tools meant for an imagined afterlife. This wasn't disposal, this was ritual, and ritual requires something profound, the recognition that a life once present is now devastatingly absent. Here's where the story takes an unexpected emotional turn. If Neanderthals, an entirely different species of human, buried their dead with such apparent tenderness, does that mean they cried too? For years, scientists assumed Neanderthals were emotionally primitive brutes, but newer research has begun dismantling that stereotype entirely. Their brains, structurally, weren't dramatically different from ours. Some anthropologists now argue that Neanderthals likely experienced complex emotional bonds, possibly even something resembling love, and by extension, possibly something resembling tears. Imagine that. Somewhere in an Ice Age valley, a Neanderthal father might have wept beside a fire, mourning a companion lost to the cold, in a moment achingly, hauntingly similar to grief you felt yourself. But let's rewind the emotional clock even further, because the real surprise is that crying might not have started with grief at all. It might have started with connection. Anthropologists studying infant development have found that human babies are born already equipped with emotional crying, long before they understand language, long before they understand death. A baby cries because being held feels safe, and being put down feels like abandonment. Some researchers believe this ancient survival wiring, cry and someone will come, is the true evolutionary root of tears. Not sadness first, but attachment first. The desperate, wordless plea of a creature too small to survive alone, calling out into the dark for someone to answer, and that reframes everything, doesn't it? If tears began as an ancient survival signal between parent and child, then every time an adult cries today, at a funeral, during heartbreak, watching a film that hits just right, they may be reaching back through hundreds of thousands of years to that same primal message. I need you. Please don't leave. Somewhere deep beneath modern sophistication, adult tears might just be the echo of an infant's oldest cry still running quietly in the background of the human heart. Here's the philosophical gut punch hiding beneath all of this. We often imagine ancient humans as tougher than us, harder, colder, forged by brutal survival into something emotionally armored. But the evidence suggests almost the opposite. Grief, love, attachment, the willingness to bury the dead with flowers, to cry beside a fire in a freezing cave, these aren't modern luxuries invented once life got comfortable. They are ancient. They are foundational. They may be one of the oldest and most defining features of what it even means to be human. So the next time tears fall down your face, whether from heartbreak, joy, or a memory you didn't expect to surface, remember this. You're not experiencing some fragile modern weakness. You're participating in one of humanity's oldest, most sacred rituals, a silent language written in salt water, passed down not through words, but through feeling itself, connecting you to a woman kneeling beside a grave 60,000 years ago, who in some way, unknowable yet undeniable, was not so different from you at all.